When Susan Boyle hit the BGT stage again, she totally blew everyone away. This summer, she made a triumphant comeback to the show that made her a star. But not too long ago, the singer couldn't even belt out a tune or say a word. Her life has been a roller coaster of tragedies, from medical mix-ups and bullying to getting stabbed in the back by loved ones.
Don't see just a part of me, see the whole person, not just a bit of me, just the whole person.
Let's dive into 6 tough moments that nearly shattered Susan Boyle. She almost couldn't perform due to a stroke. People really missed Susan. She hadn't done a concert since 2020. But after her recent performance, Boyle admitted she thought she might never return to her beloved stage.
It's actually special for me, actually.
Yeah.
Because in last April there, I suffered a minor stroke.
Did you?
And I thought like crazy to get back on stage, and I have done it.
Turns out, in spring 2022, she woke up with a droopy face and couldn't speak properly. Post-stroke, the singer had to work hard to talk and sing again. It was Susan's biggest fear come to life.
All she has ever wanted to do is sing, and she was, at that point, convinced that her career was over. She was devastated, very deeply upset, as well as being ill.
After getting out of the hospital, she got a personal speech therapist, and they still meet a few times a week. Plus, she keeps up with her singing practice. This former small-town Scottish housekeeper? She's not one to crumble easily, because Susan's been proving her mettle since she was a kid. She was misdiagnosed. When Boyle was born, she didn't get enough oxygen, which led to learning difficulties.
Some people in the medical profession said to my mother, when I was 1 year old, don't expect too much of her. How can they foretell that at that early age? They can't.
She spent most of her life thinking she had brain damage. But after she became famous, Susan found out she'd been misdiagnosed. Turns out, she had a form of autism spectrum disorder, Asperger, and her IQ is higher than average. Crazy, isn't it?
Those doctors were wrong about me.
But there was one diagnosis the doctors got right. As Susan's career was taking off, she got hit with type 2 diabetes. They warned it could mess with her active lifestyle. So she had to make some healthy changes, like ditching her favorite sweets and cakes. Food used to give her comfort when people treated her badly. She's been a target of bullies. Back in school, she had to endure kids' bullying and teachers' ignorance almost every single day.
I had a slight disability and I was a bit slow.
Susan had it tough because she didn't catch on as quickly as the others. The grown-ups whacked her with a belt, while the kids called her horrible names.
There's nothing worse than psychological cruelty. From name-calling, to snide comments behind your back. Just basic things like sort of jibing at you all the time. Stuff like that.
To many back then, she was just Susie Simple. They also called her retard or dumbbell. She was the odd one out, always left behind.
They could make me scream and bawl, and that made some of them, whoa, let's make a scream and bawl, because it was hyperactive.
Well, that hyperactive and lonely schoolgirl must have surprised her old bullies. Susan's debut album flew off the shelves, selling over 2 million copies in the first week. It is the fastest-selling debut album by any female artist in the UK. Boyle has since sold over 25 million albums and shattered 3 Guinness World Records. Sure, she hit it big and got famous worldwide, but handling all that attention, that was a whole other story. She had a bunch of breakdowns. Singing is what saved Boyle from all the chaos in her life. She was super eager to share her voice with the world. But before landing on Britain's Got Talent, she had been to 12 different auditions. And when she finally got her shot, she wasn't quite prepared for the whirlwind of spotlight.
Susan is under huge pressure, much more than maybe most people realise. She's gone from anonymity to being one of the biggest stars on the planet in 4 weeks.
She was straight up bombarded. Tons of reporters hung around Susan's home, and fans blocked her way wherever she went. It got so wild that before the finale, the showrunners had to stash her away in a secret spot, just so people couldn't find her.
I don't think there is anything that can prepare anybody, even the producers of our show, that for the phenomenon that was Susan Boyle. It was an incredible experience.
No doubt all of this took a toll on her emotional well-being. But the ultimate blow came when Susan Boyle didn't take the top prize.
She, found it very, very difficult to deal with the fact she didn't win and went into a very, very bad place for a while.
For Susan, the loss was a crushing blow. While she kept it together on stage behind the scenes, she totally lost her mind. Rumor has it that the London hotel staff even had to call the cops because of her out-of-control behavior. And she ended up in a psychiatric hospital.
Friday is a place you go for a rest. But I didn't realise at the time that it was a mental home.
The world was buzzing about Susan's rise to stardom, but she had absolutely no idea. The singer was banned from watching TV or using a phone, and what hurt her most was being kept away from her family.
Just felt as if I'd been dumped.
Sadly, she'd been through something like this before. Just 2 years prior, she'd faced another devastating heartbreak. Susan lost someone super close to her. Family tragedies really hit her hard. It was Susan's mom who pushed her to try out for BGT. Bridget was the rock that kept Susan grounded.
My mother, in particular, was the driving force who made me promise I would do something with my voice and my life.
So her passing at 91 really took Susan down a dark road. She struggled with eating and sleeping, and panic attacks became a frequent thing for her.
It's as if part of me's died with her. But I believe she's still here spiritually, and that she's guiding me.
Sadly, her parents never saw the heights Susan reached, because the singer's dad died back in '99. Despite all her setbacks, Boyle turned into an overnight star and is living proof that it's never too late to chase your dreams. Her fortune today is estimated at a whopping $40 million. But even with all that money, Susan's never been one to splurge on herself. She felt comfy living on just 500 pounds a week. So she spread the wealth around her family. Boyle even hired a bunch of relatives to help manage her career.
My family got on well. That's what keeps me grounded. They're very supportive and they're very proud.
But it seems like her brother Jerry wasn't satisfied. She once gave him almost 500,000 pounds, and he allegedly wanted another 50,000 pounds, even making life threats. The Mirror says they didn't talk for 2 years. But when Susan had another breakdown, her brother stepped in and they made up. Yet, in the realm of personal happiness, she never really found her groove. She still feels lonely. Even with millions adoring her, Boyle's never had a family to call her own. At 62, she hasn't had a proper long-term relationship. Her first shot at love, a young man named John, got crushed by her own father.
He was a very nice boy, but my dad said, "You're not ready for a relationship."
So your dad stopped it?
Yeah.
Well, how old were you then?
Well, I was 20-odd.
She also opened up about a fling with a mystery doc she briefly dated. Here's how Susan describes her ideal man.
He would have to be kind, loving. Maybe somebody who could keep me calm, and I could maybe keep him calm. I'd do really special.
But now, she feels like the ship has sailed on finding a hubby. As the singer puts it, she's been solo for way too long. Susan had hopes of fostering kids, especially since her age made adoption a bit tricky. "I have a lovely house, why not share it? I love children," she said in one of her interviews. She also openly shared that her top heartache is never having had a child.
Do you find yourself getting lonely?
Yeah, so you feel it sometimes at night.
That's why at the end of the day, all she truly desires is to sing for her audience.
I just want to keep going, I just want to keep entertaining people, making albums, touring.
Fame didn't change her core, it just gave her more confidence.
Maybe I was really saying, if I can do it, you can do it. And it's amazing the amount of people who have taken that up.
Even after skyrocketing to fame 14 years ago, she still lives in her parents' house. Of course, Boyle did spruce it up quite nicely, and her incredible journey continues to inspire others to believe in themselves too. What are your thoughts on her remarkable story?